Hello.
Hello, I hear you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We're just
Hello.
waiting for the rest of the team to join in. Please keep yourself mute.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. We will just wait a couple of seconds to let the rest of the attendees to join, and then we will start officially with the meeting.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining our virtual event. This time we will be speaking about Product Owner 2020 roles and responsibility. And this will be a very specific one where we will speak and we will use a open space forum. Next, Patrick, please. Before we start, please be aware that you will be mute and during the interactive sessions, you will be on mute so we can discuss and have a one-to-one. Quickly, this session will be recorded and you will be able to see this after in the YouTube channel. Let me give you a quick overview on PMI. My name is Leon Ayo. I'm based in Basel on the PMI Switzerland Basel virtual event team. This year has been a very challenging year for everybody. So around 26 volunteers have been dedicated to host and interact in different means with our different events. Right now in Switzerland, we have 1,500 members. And if you feel you can help during your spare time doing some networking and join this team, would be glad to welcome you. This year, we got 267 new members, that making a significant increase. And last but not least, overall, we have in PMI Switzerland with 3 different chapters, 118 volunteers. When our critical mass is reached by, in the next slide, please, when we use our social media channels, we have 4 which are very common now. One is LinkedIn is our most powerful one. If you're not subscribed already, please do it. We are around 2,000 members. We also use Facebook. We try to keep the same information shared there. We're around 1,000 followers. Then we have Instagram. Sometimes we share interesting pictures or information that would be to be useful. And last but not least, our PMI Switzerland YouTube channel is where we share most of the sessions that are recorded. So please feel free to log in and have a look on that. Good. So let's stop speaking about PMI Switzerland only, and let me please introduce Patrick Nosalik. He's part of the Swiss Romand chapter. And Patrick, we're all yours. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for the introduction. Welcome, everybody. Well done on making it here. And whilst the theme today is the Product Owner 2020, the reference to the new Scrum guide after 25 years, a significant update, so there could be new things to talk about. Roles and responsibilities are three things that you should be aware of in an open space, and that's the principles, the structure, and the values. So very quickly, we shall go over these. The principles of open spaces, okay, there are essentially 4 of them. Whoever comes is the right people. In this event, we couldn't have expected any other better setup than everybody who's here right now, okay? Also, whilst there is a theme that we want to discuss, whatever happens, okay, is the only things that could have. We don't go to a predetermined final goal. There's a lot of freedom in order to achieve that. Open spaces came from a time when people would go to conferences and they realized that the best part of conferences were between the keynote speakers, where people would meet in spaces and times between the keynote speakers. And they thought, okay, if we create these principles, we can harness the collective intelligence and the relationship building, and that's the value of unconferences or open spaces. And therefore, you also have principles like when it starts, it is the right time. Now, whilst, of course, this event is starting at a set time, when a specific discussion starts, that is okay. You know, that's the only time it could have started. And when it's over, it's over. I mean, sometimes we'll discuss something and it'll last one time box. Sometimes you'll discuss, and you know, it'll be such a hot topic, it will keep on going. So that's also cool. There is, just for the sake of completion, the thing called the law of 2 feet. Sometimes if we have breakout rooms, I don't think we'll have them here today, but generally there's a freedom to go from place to place. Now, if you leave, do let us know. We'd really like to know why you left. Is it because the dog's eating the kids, or is it because you know, the structure was too complicated or it wasn't interesting? But as organizers and facilitators, people sometimes disappear, and we'd love to know why. So if you could let us know, we'd really appreciate it. But generally, we hope to have a really good session. We have these principles. It's an agile format, so it's important to have principles, buy into the principles, and then we can have a lot of freedom. Okay. There are 3 artifacts in the structure of an open space. We have the backlog. The backlog was created based on previous sessions, and you'll also have the opportunity to add to the backlog. That will be done via slido.com, and you can enter the code 23045. You'll get that again later on the next slide. And you can upvote these items. So you can see out of the pre-prepared ones, which ones are more interesting, upvote it, add your own topic, maybe other people will upvote it. So that's the backlog. Our facilitators will take the top item from the backlog, and every item will have the same 8-minute time box where we start, we discuss, and then there will be a gong to let you know happens. You'll get a poll, okay, coming up, whether we should continue this topic or not. Now, if it's a hot topic and you like it, you can decide yes, and we continue. We start a new time box. If the decision is in fact a no, we go back to the backlog for the next item. And in that way, we go through as many items as we can in a predetermined structure. Okay. What we want to do as well, okay, to share the values of respect it by listening to others, learning by doing, allowing anybody who wants to participate, and to focus on the positive. You know, there might be a little hiccup. Somebody might not be able to say something as well as they should have. Doesn't matter. Focus on the positive. These are the values of Agile Swiss, and we're very lucky, and I'm personally honored to be able to work with my colleagues from Agile Swiss. So to that end, I'd like to make an introduction of Nicolas Pagès and Magali Ballot from Agile Swiss. Nicolas is a certified product owner, Scrum Master, coach and design thinking with an awful 20 years of IT and supply chain expertise. To work with, he is passionate and very adaptive, and he kind of makes you have to adapt as well. So to that end, I share his life motto, which came from a time when he was living near the beach. And I say now, it used to be, the web is for people who cannot surf. You know, in an age of digital transformation, it's hard to maybe have a life motto that is always relevant, but it goes to show that it's adaptive. And his favorite book, fiction book, what I asked for, was Steve McQueen, Portrait of an American Rebel. So that gives you a little insight into his character. Great guy to work with. The one thing that you might not know about Nicholas is that in a time and place where there was no TV or web, and he was living in Africa, and he was a young tennis player, he had the opportunity to actually meet Mansour Barami, Noah, and Bijou. These are really famous players, especially in this kind of fun acrobatic tennis. And this is shows that Nicolas really lives these Agile Swiss principles of positivity and doing. So over to Magali Ballot. She has a PhD in human technology interaction. She's a certified professional coach. She's also a certified product owner and Scrum Master. To work with, very engaged, very attentive. And her life motto, and this really resonates with me personally, be the change you want to see in the world, which comes from Gandhi. And her favorite book was Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. But when I asked her for a fiction book, she said The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. So it's great that we have this kind of teamwork here. One thing you might not know about Magali, I found very interesting, was that she was on the founding team of 2 startups in the Ugandan part of Africa in 2016, one of which pivoted from B to C into B to B and still exists today. Fantastic success. So with that, let's start the open space where we'll see the backlog. You can get to do the Slido code. You can add the backlog items, upvote the backlog items, and let's start participating. Okay, so over to you, Nicholas and Magali. What's the first item that you want to address?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, good morning, good evening, everybody. Then we have this. Thanks for this presentation, Patrick. I wish also a big welcome to Maria, which I saw she's in this presentation, and she was part of the first session we done probably 1 month ago. And welcome, Maria. Then we have this list of questions that comes from the first presentation we done 1 month ago, where we have a lot of questions from the group. We speak about some of them, and actually we didn't have time to focus on all of them. Then we sum up most of them through this pre-prepared question list, around 6. Then you can vote. I believe what can be interesting is to start with the first one, which is more a global question regarding the responsibility of the product owner. Then if everybody's fine, we can directly go to this one in an open space of 8 minutes and try to share your experience in terms of responsibility, what's going well, bad, and what experience you can give in this topic. It will give you time to vote for the next one after. We go to this one, Patrick?
Yeah, let's do it. What are the main responsibilities of the product owner, yeah?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Then, let's start. Then we have this open space where we can share. Then I will give you a bit my vision, and which is one of the topic of entrepreneur. It is a vision. Then what is the main responsibility? Is for me, a product owner is to bring value to the customer he will represent or is representing, and bring the value through a product and through a vision. Then we have in the new Scrum Guide this concept of product goal. Then the vision give you a product goal, and you have this responsibility to manage, like vehicle all the content regarding the value. And do we have in the people around here something you want to share regarding the value and the way you promote the value through the cycle of the product? You want to share something or? Then let's continue. Then responsibility. You as a team, as part of the Scrum team, you drive this value through multiple cycle than what we have in the sprint, and you are let's say the man responsible of this, and you have to bring this to the customer through iteration. Then my main experience on this one is this value sometimes is some defect because you have multiple stakeholders that are not engaged or do not engage you in this delivery of value. Then it's hard also as the project owner to give or to keep focus, because it's a job to keep focus and to deliver such value. Then he should be responsible of it. He's accountable for this. Naturally, it should be helped by the team, the Scrum team, but also all the people around. Then in my experience, I already failed, not because of my IG, but because of people around, because the Scrum team do not help me to progress on such thing, meaning that I deliver but not deliver as I wish. Then the vision was clear. I tried to give this vision clearly to help the team to progress and to show this value. Unfortunately, it's not sometimes easy, and it's the complexity of the role of product owner, because you have this relation to the stakeholder, and you have also here to promote and to follow all this. Anybody want to share something? Maria, you want to share something? I saw you around and on the topic, or Magali also, regarding some people in the team. A simple question for the team. Anybody was engaged as a product owner and as to deliver the full roadmap of the product, then the vision, and did it succeed easily, or what kind of issue or you got in terms of responsibility, in terms of your responsibility?
Yeah, maybe I can give some of my issues, maybe, or my questions that I always ask myself. I'm Stefan, and when I take over the role of a product owner, it means I am the representative of the customers, of maybe the end users, but I have to represent the needs, or I have to work on the things that the customer, that the users want, the customers. But on the other side, there is my sponsor who gives me the money, who asks me to do the job. But maybe he is not a real user of this end product. He is only the manager of the company or the manager of the department. And so sometimes there are conflicts of interests. And as a project manager, it's nearly clear the sponsor is my big boss. But how is the situation with a product owner? Should I say more often no to the sponsor and often yes to the team, to the representatives of the customers, the users?
So
you want to answer, Magali? After I give
yes, I can give my own opinion. So what is important to remember is that to create value for the product owner, it means two things. It means for the end user or the end client, and for the company. So the product owner needs to find like the sweet spot that meet benefit for the end user and benefit for the company. So this is where, for example, the product owner can work very closely with the project manager, who is more aware sometimes of the strategy and what KPI he should follow or what KPI are important for the product vision or the product goal. But one way to do it for the product owner is to check for each feature he wants to implement. Will it have an effect on one of the KPI that is relevant now for our strategy? And if these features has no effect on one of the relevant KPI, it means that it shouldn't be the priority. Even if the end user says it's really important for him, he should always check like both sides. And maybe one tool that I love for that you can check on the internet is opportunity solution tree. So it's really one tool that helps the product owner to check if features has an effect on the KPI or not. And it's a very powerful tool, I think.
Thanks, Magali. I will give my personal view, and Magali say exactly, you have this communication. As a product owner, you have multiple skills. Then you have this vision of the product. You have also this communication, and you have to take, let's say, decision. Then at one point of time, you are here as a protector of the customer need. But the sponsor asks you also something. Then we have all this concept of need, which is a product backlog, then all the need, all the user need. And naturally, you can also discuss with the sponsor, because probably what the customer wants is not a link to the strategy of the company. Then you have this connection on one part of time. At the end, is you to decide. Then you can have multiple people asking you stuff. You can take it as committee, as different sponsor, but at the end, you are here to take the decision for the customer. Then, like Magali said, it's really combination, and the communication is part of this combination.
The key is transparency. So the product owner should always be transparent towards all stakeholders about why is choosing a feature or not. And this is really one of his role and transparency is one of the pillars of Scrum. So it's really important to have that in mind.
Also, I would add that the priorities in terms of objective has to be clear from the product sponsor. So, I mean, the product owner has to make the business owner or the product manager or project sponsor has to make this person think about what are the business objectives that he has. Because when he finds this combination between user needs and business objective, is going to be able to create his own priorities.
Anybody in the room want to share something?
I'd just like to interrupt. Can everyone see the poll results?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
50-47. Everybody vote or not? Ananya, we have everybody who vote?
We actually went over time, so that's
okay.
If you want, I can relaunch the poll.
No, well, I don't know.
Okay.
Now we go to the next one?
Yes.
Interesting
Okay.
question.
So the next question.
Magali.
Yes, I'll take over. So the next question is what differentiates product owner from product manager? And I would be very happy to hear about your own experience. So how is it in your company? And then I can share what I have experienced as a Agile coach and Scrum Master in different companies. But first from you guys.
Hello, this is Gareth. So I can explain briefly how it works in my company, which is Global Blue. We have a number of units of value, and each one has a Scrum structure with a product owner. Generally speaking, if something that we need to deliver can be delivered to the market in collaboration with one of these units of value, then the product owner acts as a kind of product manager. But whenever the complexity is greater and you have a lot of interaction between the different products, then you normally engage an end-to-end project manager who works then with each of the product owners. That's the way we do it. Mm-hmm. There was a time when we were making the transformation to Agile, when there was an ambition basically to get rid of project managers in the company, but lots of people could see that this would never work, and it didn't work, and it didn't happen. And now we have a very good balance and a good relationship between the product managers and project managers.
Thank you.
Why didn't it work? Yeah.
Because I mean, it'll be different in every company, but the complexity of what we do is such that it's just not possible or fair to expect the product managers to have the necessary level of engagement with the external stakeholders to be able to do the job of project delivery properly, effectively. It's better that they focus on the products, and that the project managers help to manage the implementation into the market. I mean, I don't want to bore people with the nature of the business that we do, but we have relationships with merchants, government authorities, external technology partners, and so on. So local teams distributed around the world. It's quite a chewy thing to try to deliver, for example, a new country project. It just wouldn't be within the scope or capability of a product manager.
Is a product manager the same as a product owner?
No, not in our company. No. But sorry, I see what you mean. No, so the product owner in our company is the person who's actually managing the product, and the project manager is managing the delivery of that project. Did that answer your question? Maybe not.
Yeah, okay, because product owners, to me, seem to be very often people from a kind of agile or project management background that do another certification, and then they are a product owner. But in my experience, you need to have somebody from the business who plays the role of the product owner. But how does it work in your company?
Yeah, the product owners are, they have more of a business orientation, but they also have a lot of technical knowledge. The project managers may accumulate technical knowledge or may have it from their background, but it's not as essential for them. And they also have often less business knowledge. So we also have project owners. So the project owner, and that's the role that I perform, works with project managers and product owners.
If I just give you an after, let Magali, because she has a lot of experience on this double role. Personally, a PM doesn't work every time in a self-organization structure, where a product owner work on a self-organization structure where we have the notion of Scrum, where people are self-organized. They have more or less the same skill because they have communication, they have the cost, we have the time, we have the quality, then they work on the same kind of skill. But the PM is more top-down, where a PO is more bottom-up. Like you said, the business is more on the ground, and it will be more focused like this, where PM we have this top-down activity. This is my approach here. in these two roles. Magali?
My experience is that it really depends. In each company, it's a bit different. So I've seen in smaller company where they don't need a project manager. So the traditional role of the project manager has been distributed into the different roles of product owner or scrum master. I've seen sometime in also company with, so not large company, but small one where there is still a project manager and the product owner. So in this case, the project manager took over a role which is more strategic, like checking the strategy of the company, making sure the product is going in the right direction, in terms of cost and budget as well. But these are tasks that can be taken over by the product owner as well. And what I've seen in bigger company as well, so where they have a lot of teams and a lot of dependencies between the team, is that the project manager is taking over the role of checking the schedules, the costs, communicating with big stakeholders, but also helping the coordination between all teams. So is having really the overview on everything, is making sure there is a kickoff at the beginning of the project, that each team knows what they do inside the project, what are the expectations, that they share the risk, that they share, for example, what they think we need to make this project successful. And he's the one that can also make sure like the coordination is going on. So my experience in an agile transformation is that people are coming and they have their own expectation of what a product owner does or what a product manager does. And it's really important to have workshop about role and responsibilities to make sure to define it inside this agile transformation, what it means, that people are on the same page and know what are their responsibility. Because it's really like from one company to another, it will be different. So anybody want to react, or maybe you work in a company where it's different, where you share the responsibilities in a different way?
Braddock speaking. I'm working for Swisscom, and I just make that you are right, exactly saying that we have a lot of teams across different and responsibility varies. But we learned that, let's say in the past, that a project manager role is temporary when the project exists, and a product owner is active during the operation of product by us. You know, when the product is over, we just do an evaluation of the progressing of the product, taking in the backlog also operational input, which is not the role of the project manager. So you understand, Magali. So it's not the same approach in the little companies, and let's say in this way, project manager cannot change the requirements, and the product owner can do this. This is a very, very important thing. And you know, a product owner can say, yes, I prioritize this with this priority, which is higher than another feature. And project manager cannot do. He just do what have to be done, you know. But just to understand the role of the project manager working for the product owner, it's not the same like the project manager working things to happen to realize this product. You know, this is not exactly the same role by us. We have different roles in this way, and the requirements always are discussed each weeks. You know, it's very, very important things, and then in the backlog it's written what have to be changed and what is important to be done. But even if the product is over, we have a feedback sometimes that yes, something have not realized completely. So yes, this is not very same approach.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, looks like time is up.
Okay, next question, Nicolas.
The next one, how can we measure how successful the role is being executed? It's always something tricky because everybody has his own vision, or let's say his own way of measure. And like you said, the PM will have his KPI, then you have to be aligned, etc. Then I would say for me, there's two parts, let's say, on the question. The first one is you as a product owner. You know that we are in this discussion, we are thinking about Scrum approach. Then we have others, Agile approach or methodology, but we take the Scrum one. And in the Scrum, we have this sprint where we initiate a deliver, which is a product, let's say something which is done, let's say, and then we deliver to the customer. And here we can see if the value is here because we have a frequency in the delivery of the product. We can control if the result is good. Then we have this concept of inspection, which is part of the pillar of Scrum. Then we deliver oftenly to the customer, and we can test. And we can see if the result is good or not for the customer. Then we can see a first value if the cycle you are doing is good. And more or less, if your cycle is 2 weeks, you deliver oftenly, frequently, and here you have this information on the vision. After, we have something which is probably more high level and probably more visible for the group or for the PM, whatever, is the metric, which is the velocity and the customer satisfaction. Then the way you deliver a good part of the product, and which is a done part, which will be a done plus a done plus a done will give a product, and you have this product goal and you arrive to the product goal, plus the customer satisfaction, if it's happy with what you deliver. In this concept of satisfaction, you have, in fact, the idea is, do I cover my stakeholder need? If it's not, I miss something, then I have a risk that the value is not correct. Okay, then you have really this two parts in terms of the time to market, what to deliver, oftenly, velocity, customer satisfaction. What think then? Does the customer absorb properly the product and use it correctly? You can see also the functionality. If the guys you deliver something and product is used at 20 or 30%, you miss something, or the customer miss something, and you didn't took the good user story, and because of a wrong inspection, you miss something. And after you have the direct customer feedback, I would say. Does other people in the group have some sharing about the value and how they be sure that what they deliver is accurate and produce value?
I can share my my view on that. So the most important, as you said, Nicola, is always satisfaction of the client, for sure. Like, did we meet the needs, his needs? Did we produce what he wants? But I think something really important to remember is that Scrum is about quality. So when I would work, for example, with a manager and he wants to set up such criteria to measure how successful is a product owner, I would check with him what could be the downside of each criteria. So, for example, if it takes a criteria such as how many stories are written, this could have as a consequence that the product owner is just cutting more of the stories. so that it's hard to take that as an indicator for his performance. If, for example, we are taking something like the time to write a story until the end, the time to make a story fit with the definition of ready. So the definition of ready is, it means that my user story is ready to go into the sprint. We have all the acceptance criteria and everything. This, if I take that as a criteria, one downside could be that the product owner is just like trying to work super fast on them and not working on the quality anymore. So we should be really careful in Scrum when we take like a performance criteria, something to measure the performance of the product owner, that we are not, that it doesn't have an effect on the quality. So maybe some things we can take is, does the stories that the product owner is writing meet the definition of ready? Does many of them come into the sprint and they are not fully defined? Something that we can just ask as well is the quality of the stories. Do the acceptance criteria are really, do we meet and represent what the client wants? Did he think of everything? And the prioritization of the backlog. So is the product owner able to take into account both requirements from, I mean, both view from the business and from the client and the end user? So this would be some stuff that are not quantitative, but more qualitative, but that would be really powerful in how to measure the quality of the work and how successful is the product owner.
To complete what Magali said, and this for me is important, is a different view where you are. I wish to know if in the team you got already people, or you got project or experience where in fact you believe you deliver something good and the customer satisfaction was, you have an issue in the customer satisfaction and the result of the customer is saying that it's fine for them, but you have a discrepancy between what the sponsor was waiting and what the customer is giving. I don't know if you have such experience and you want to share. No?
I would like to add something. So for me, the success of the product owner is maximize the value. So that is that is, if the product owner is maximizing the value of the product, then he's doing a great job, even if he's not writing very detailed user stories. So for me, the main task is bring the value. So maximizing the product value. And then you have to see what is the company strategy. So what is this product? How is this bringing value to the customer, to the company?
I agree with you, Maya, but the question is for me also that, you know, I was working in a big company before and we used to deliver something and nobody complained. And we said, are you happy? Yes, I'm happy. I have what I wish you to deliver. And after we notice, for example, that they use at 20% of what we develop, you know, and then you have this discrepancy between the stamp. The guy said, we are happy, what you deliver is fine. And after some time, we noticed that it was not really used. And then we try to, and then after we have the sponsor asking, but I pay for 100, but you use only 20. Why I pay so much? And I wish to know if you got something like this in the, because the value sometimes is really, you're right, we give value, but at the end, who decide and who the perception?
Yeah.
Top of this.
So I can share my experience on that. So sometimes representative of the end user, of the client, is super happy about the features and super happy about what the team delivered. But I mean, but the end user is not happy and is not using it. And this is why it's really important that Scrum team and product owner are working closely with the end user, not only with somebody in the management, somebody in the business side that represents the client or the end user, because only the end user can know if he will really use it, and only the end user can know if it really fits his need and solve his issues. So this, I mean, I already experienced this situation, and this is really the way to go forward, I think, to organize meeting with the end client, the end user. Anybody has an experience with that?
I don't have an experience. Well, I mean, maybe I do, but I have a question more here just to clarify. How close should the product owner be to the end user? Should he be, somebody working with the end users? I don't know, the manager of the end users, an end user. Is it a more, should the product owner be a more kind of, a functional business person who just takes the role of a product owner for a specific project, or should it be a specified profession?
So the product owner, right?
Yeah. Should the product owner be, you say be close to the users, but I mean, should he be one of the users? He or she, of course, but should that person be from the users?
So, yeah, it can be. I personally believe that the product owner should work closely with the end user. It's easy usually when the end user is somebody internal to the company. So when the product owner is developing a software or anything for internal use, if usually if the product owner develops something for a customer, so a client, an end client, there are often teams of user researcher or UX customer centricity who is closer to the client. Still, I think that the product owner should have some skills to understand the client needs, and don't leave that only to one department in the company, working closely to the customer.
I fully agree with Magali. The product owner has to sit with the client, with the end user. Even if you do not know the business at the beginning, maybe why not? You can always learn. So that is something that is very important.
But you must not learn in a way that complicates the business relationship with the end user. And I've seen that as well, that people who mean well and who, completely understandably want to get close to the end user can also put their foot in it. So you need to be discreet if you're going to do that.
But it's here where you bring your experience, because you're right, and Maya said, I believe you are, as you bring the value of the customer, you need to understand and to be close. Naturally, you have to have the filter, and the filter is also the company strategy, and to be aligned with the guys, to be okay. What you want is perfect, but it's not this world. This is the world, is the old world. Now we need something different. And the guy should adapt, but you should also be this link. But I think we.
May I know what did it happen, Gareth?
No, it was funny because I mean, I've had experience with many different product owners in the company, and some of them are brilliant at it, and some of them could be better. One of them, who, in my opinion, could be better, tends to kind of live in a bubble with his product, and wanted to get that tangible contact with the end user to have a better sense of what was really going on. But the first opportunity that he got to do that, he made the mistake of suggesting things and making commitments that were completely against, the business strategy, what we could afford, what we wanted to deliver globally. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lesson that I needed to protect him from making that mistake somehow, and yet not distance him from what he needs to know about how to make something work for the user. So it's tricky. I mean, everybody brings a different set of responsibilities and skills and experience to the team, and everybody needs to understand where their strengths and weaknesses are so that they don't trip each other up.
So I think in such a case, the solution is not to stop the communication with the end user, but to make sure when he's communicating with all his stakeholders, so the end user is one of them, that is staying transparent about the different priorities that he has to deal with, and that he can't commit on stuff you know, that the team can deliver.
Sometimes it's difficult when the idea gets out into the air. It can be difficult to put it back.
Yes.
It's why communication is also key, because it's human. Human, the guy sometimes he protect his vision, and you have to be in the middle. Interesting.
Well, you do not need to engage. I mean, 100%. You can always say we are going to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I want to share one story because sometimes we think the end user is only if there is an interface or something like that. But the case, what we are talking now, it has a name and it's called the build trap. It's basically when the team is building something and we realize at the end that the end user doesn't want to use it or doesn't need it. It doesn't really fit his needs. And the most impressive case of build trap that I've seen, it was in a company. They were doing the Agile transformation. And so there was this, so it was an e-commerce company, and there was a team inside, like the tarification team, and they had to decide like the price of the new product depending on many things, such as which country is going to be, the price they bought it, and many other criteria. And inside the company, there was another team, IT team, and their product was to build an algorithm for this tarification team, so that the tarification team could take faster decision to decide the end price in different countries. So this IT team, this Scrum team, worked 2 years on this algorithm, and they were like releasing, making it better and better. And only after 2 years, they had their first meeting with the end user, so this tarification team. And they realized that since 2 years, nobody in the tarification team is using the algorithm. And the reason was that they didn't trust it. So they didn't know how it works. They didn't know what criteria they use to make this calculation. So they just preferred to continue by hand. And it was, so it was a really strong example of the build trap. The product owner was really surprised by it. So this example is really to show you that even if a team is working on something which is less tangible without interface, it's really important to meet the end user and see if it fits his need or not.
That would be very unusual, wouldn't it, in an Agile context, that people are working for 2 years and the end user has no visibility?
Yes, so they were switching to Agile. So they were starting with Agile. So in an Agile context, it shouldn't happen.
Can I just have one more point on measuring the value? So just to say that it's difficult to make it quantifiable, but what I noticed when we transformed was that the product owners built a level of trust with the business that didn't exist in the past, where you knew that you would get something that worked within a predictable period of time. And that's not just thanks to the product owner, but to the whole approach, I guess. But it really transforms the atmosphere of the company.
Okay, great sharing. It's nice. Thanks to all of you. We go to the next question. Patrick?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, perfect.
I see anonymous question. Great. Then first one, how to product interact is done. Where are the best practice? What are the best practice for the product owner to interact with other team member? Okay. Then.
Yeah, Nicholas, I think the next question is how the product owner interacts with the project manager.
Oh, sorry. Then I have to. Can I scroll? Let me go to the central one. How can we measure? Yeah, but we done it this one. How to product owner interact with project manager? Did we? This is one we done just before. Probably we have to cancel the.
Yeah, we moved into this topic.
Yeah, probably we have to cancel when it's done. We have to probably cancel it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
then the next one. What are the best practice for the project owner to interact with the other team member?
So for this question, maybe I would like to hear from your own experience. So maybe you have worked with different product owners. And I would like to hear from you, what are the practices you thought was really helpful in the way they worked with you, and which practices were not helping so much, maybe?
To help you and to share a bit for me, it's a really tricky question. When we got it, it was a bit tough. Best practice for me is part of the communication. We have the pillar of transparency, and we have some key value in Scrum, which are the commitment, openness. Then it's part of, for me, the best practice when you will interact with the people, to show the role you have, but also to prove or to give acts in your role with this commitment that you deliver, the openness, the respect of the others, able to listen. Then I will say it's part of, let's say, human value as my personal approach. Any comment, extra comment you want to share?
Is there anybody here that particularly identifies with this question? What are the best practices for the product owner to interact with other team members? Because maybe, if this is from a previous session and that person isn't here, maybe it doesn't make sense to keep going if there's not enough interest. What do you think?
We might ask, how would you like the product owner to interact with other team members? What do you think about that?
Yeah, could do. I mean, I have a strong kind of, warm appeal to, our 30 or so participants. I mean, feel free to help answer this question. Yeah. I mean, if you've been in a company or are in a company where you are the product owner, or you see a product owner, you're somebody else, and you see, any practices, maybe not even the best ones, share them. Maybe we can be interesting insight for some people here.
Probably the notion of best practice can make people afraid. It's right, it's come from the last session, and it's probably linked also to this question of probably mutual role. We write it like this because we have multiple. The best practice, it's Scrum is really people are self-organized and you have some value. Then probably is really for me linked to to this relation you have with the method and the complexity of the project you have. Because if you have a big product to develop, something, a service, whatever, you can have multiple team, then probably part of another project, then you have this complexity. Or if you have a small stuff to develop, you have less complexity, and then the self-organization is more or less more simple. But if you keep the value of Scrum, which are the respect, the openness, the transparency, very important, because you will face issue and will need help, it should be a kind of best practice.
In my last company, BNP Paribas Lease Group, we had a large agile project with essentially 3, you could say, product owners. So a little bit unusual. We did DSDM, so they weren't called product owners, they were sort of business ambassadors or business visionaries, and they certainly had a very much a sort of a leadership role in driving the kind of requirements that should be in the transformation that we were doing. So for me, a best practice is it's very much somebody with a lot of leadership potential.
What I can also share what I've seen in the Scrum team where it doesn't work really well. It's sometimes because product owner, like team members, don't feel comfortable talking to the product owner. So the best practice for the PO in this regard is really to have this. To make people just comfortable asking questions, to not putting thoughts on other team members because they ask, I don't know, because they didn't understand something or something like that, and to really make sure that they are always working in this collaborative environment.
One thing very important is really, and to add this, is after the context, because when you arrive as product owner, you should have this Scrum approach, let's say, or this people should let's say share the idea of this Scrum and I would not say present you to the team, but like this help you to progress in your initiative of deliver the value and bring this vision with product roadmap, whatever. Then best practice is probably also associated with the idea of the Scrum behind. You can vote.
Yep, I think the votes happened.
Super.
Quite clearly need to move to the next topic.
Okay.
So
then which one?
The next topic, to what extent the PO is a multiple person.
We can merge Magali with the next one from Stefan, because it's a bit like this.
Yes, I have a feeling we also did it. Okay, can or should a PO also own other Scrum roles, Scrum Master or developer? This could seem likely in smaller companies or for the first Scrum trials. So do you have experience in some companies where the product owner is also doing another Scrum role, and how is it going? Or does maybe in your opinion shouldn't be the case, and in this case why?
Hi, this is Goran speaking. Yes, I do have in fact a similar experience. I was part of one small team that was part of a big picture that we several teams were working on developing a complex solution. But in our team that we were applying Agile methodology, and okay, we let's say we agreed that the whole team took the responsibility of being actually product owner. Okay, there were two senior guys. I was one of them. One was acting as a Scrum Master and the other as a product owner interchangeably. So yes, we actually tried to maximize the value that we delivered with our product to the rest of the teams, because there were some interdependencies between our product and the others. And yes, so in small teams that can function.
Okay.
But I guess that on a large scale, some specialization is necessary.
Mm-hmm. What was your experience with the communication with the stakeholders? How did it work?
We did not have we did not have daily communication with the end users, but we did have communication, for example, with representatives of the other teams who made certain let's say requests that they depend that a certain feature of our system be delivered for their next release, so that they can use it, test it, and those. So yes, certain coordination did exist, but mostly within, let's say, a larger development environment. Communication with the end user was not in our let's say scope. That was done by business analysts, project managers. But this, okay, so again, I'm saying on a small scale, within a small context, well-defined scope, yes, it worked.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any sharing? Any other sharing? I will give one of my sharing, and for me, which is important, is always, you know, we like to put, let's say, name in front of people. You're a product owner, you're a business analyst, you're a project manager, you're a project, and having the opportunity to play different roles sometimes is interesting, because you have the vision, let's say the vision, you have the knowledge, and you understand what the people in front speak, but sometimes it's also good to keep where you, to stay on a new place. I'll give you an simple example. When I started working on SAP, I was a bit like a product owner on solution on internet in 2000 for B2B, and I got a lot of experience, but sometimes going in different area where it was not mine, sometimes it bring issue. And if I take now this perspective with all the Scrum and, for example, Scrum role, I got the opportunity regarding different projects to start a bit like a kind of junior coach for design thinking, or you play different role. But it's a real job to being a Scrum master. And personally, I believe that even some tips and tricks to progress in a team is really a full-time job in a company, because there's a lot of impediment, a lot of issue you have to fix and you have to understand. Then having a PO, having multiple role person, it's sometimes borderline. We see with a PM where you have the you have multiple skill, identical skill, but it's not the same level in terms of activity. Then a PO is multiple person. I will say it can be, because you can come from multiple background, but activity is really specific as a product owner. And PO also own other Scrum role. No, I would say very PO and Scrum Master is really differentiated in the project. I really believe it's really two separate stuff, which can be complex if you try to have a two cap, even in small project. I don't know in a small project if people saw this. One guy is doing the multiple role, it would be interesting. But I never saw it in my case, and I will be. I'm not convinced it could work. Sorry. Anybody who saw a guy who were product owner and Scrum in a small project? No answer. I believe no.
So in the two startups, I co-created. So we were a startup, so of course we didn't have the budget for a Scrum Master. And what we did was rotative Scrum Master. So the product owner would take the role of Scrum Master 2 weeks, maybe every like 2 months, depending on how many people were participating into this rotative Scrum Master. So this worked, and this is one option for very small company like a startup. Instead of having the PO always taking over other Scrum role, that to have, for example, like a rotative Scrum Master.
I have a question, Magali, for you.
Yes.
And did the PO has interest conflict when he was performing the Scrum Master role?
What kind of interest conflict are you thinking of?
So the product owner wants to get the maximum from the team. I mean, he wants the maximum user stories to be done. And the Scrum Master is protecting the team from the product owner. So I think that well, maybe that can work for one sprint, but more than that, it can be very risky.
So I was a product owner. So I mean, for me, the culture was really, really important. So I wasn't doing it, but it's true that it might be an issue in other startups where the product owner is not so strongly into Agile and Scrum. This could be.
Thank you. I will rotate, but I will not rotate the product owner.
Yes, yeah, not the product owner.
Being a Scrum, I think, is very interesting because you learn a lot of different tricks to help the Scrum team after the little separator. We have the votation for this poll. And the result is no.
Okay.
Perfect.
So
next one.
It's only 2 minutes left. So
then we take the next one. How a product owner do the effective interpretation of customer requirement or give weight to the product functionality and the way to establish priority? Thanks. We want to do this one?
Let's do it quickly, 3 to 4 minutes, okay? See what we can get out of it.
Okay. Okay, then briefly for me, you have a user story. Then you have a story you give to the team. These people will, then you have to split or to decompose this your story in the product backlog where you have a bit the order. You as the product owner, you will take the order, you will give the order because you see the importance of number 1, number 2, number 3. You will detail, you will put your priority or your value, let's say the weight you believe is you, because you are owning the product owner, product backlog, sorry. And after you will present to the team, and in the sprint backlog, they will say it's too big for us, we believe it's too much, then you will split with the team and we'll try to, probably on one user story of how many days, you will split in 2 and it will be 2 sprints. But it's you as a product owner who would create this weight in the product backlog because you have this understanding of the need of the customer and the value behind. Magali, you want to give?
Yeah. So it depends as well, like of the complexity. So like two factors that are really important are the value and the time to develop. So to check the time to develop, the product owner needs to work closely with developers or architects to have an idea of how much time it takes. The value. So usually he knows from the business point of view, but maybe it's also important to know to integrate more stuff into the value, such as like the risk we have if we don't implement it. Do we have a technical risk or security risk or stuff like that? So depending on the product, it can be really complex to exactly to
what Magali said is important is I forget is regarding the risk. And you come as a product owner with your business view, etc. And after when you discuss, it can come, because we never speak about the technique, the architecture is not part of something you have first in mind. And after it can come with the discussion, and suddenly some priority 1 become the priority 3 because of other stuff. And also this is important to notice that such extra stuff like architecture, like technique, can also influence your decision.
Okay.
To what extent do you normally have autonomy as a product owner to decide these priorities?
I didn't understand the beginning. It's a question in which you said in?
Yeah, so the question was, to what extent is it normal for the product owner to have autonomy in setting these priorities? Because in the context that I work in, it's kind of unimaginable that the product owner would have autonomy to decide priorities, because the products are interacting in such a complex way that somebody or some other people need to be involved in helping to coordinate the priorities across the different products.
Well, what my vision, when you have a product to deliver, you have only one product backlog. You can have multiple team, but only one. Then you have this information first, which is the one which is priority. Where you have the complexities, if you have touching, personally, I believe, some stuff where you are not under control because you have architecture and stuff like this, which is not something it's really easy to manage. Then here I would say it is a bit tough, but one of the rules is you are responsible and accountable of what you have to deliver, and what you deliver is linked to what you understand and what you put on the top of the queue. Then, if naturally nobody trusts you and you are a bit like the black duck, and then it will fail at the end, is sure. My complexity is more when it's big and you have some other information which is not linked to your business, and you need probably some expert regarding the risks, the security, or stuff like this, where you have to take the good order. Magali, you want to?
Yeah, in my experience, it shouldn't do it alone. Like in most of the context, it's so complex. There are so many variables to check. So, for example, if you work in SAFE, they are often checking the cost of delay. If they don't implement the features, and it's basically a calculation they do based on the value for the user, the time criticality. So do we have a deadline, or how bad it is for the customer satisfaction if we deliver it late or in a long time, and the risk. So what are the risks for our business if we don't implement it quickly? And all this stuff, it's better if the POs has discussion with other people to be able to see everything. So to measure this cost of delay, and of course, then the other criteria, like I said, is the time to deliver. And for that, he needs architects and developers.
Sure. This is a massive topic, the whole issue of scalability and using, Agile, Scrum is something, in small teams, in a very large, complex, usually a multi-entity organizations with multiple business units. It's a massive topic, and we could even have a theme just on this in the future. But unfortunately, time is up. We have to finish now. That's also part of open spaces. They have to come to an end. That doesn't mean that we won't continue. So what I'd like to do now is really invite everybody to a kind of vision of the future. PMI would like to, has the possibility to offer us something like a kind of a cyclical, regular, kind of like every third Tuesday of the month, even like a sort of a potential drop-in service, I'd just like everybody in PMI and, you know, PMI friends and anybody sort of that could be interested in a theme that we're doing. We could do the themes, so, you know, around data center project management, about DevOps tool chains, about scalability, about artificial intelligence in project management, in, you know, whatever theme can come to mind. You know, those are just some of the few that come to, you know, my mind. If I had the benefit, and often I do have the benefit of working with, you know, other people who have great ideas, we could go into, you know, cybersecurity and project management, or anything, you know, obviously outside of IT. There's a lot of people working in, you know, the construction in places where Agile can't work, but you could have open discussions. So I have this vision that we could, as PMI, offer a platform of open spaces in the future on a cyclical basis. So we get used to the format, we get comfortable in participating. Throughout the year, we've had other facilitation formats. They've worked. We've done rehearsals and trainings, and we've had so much, you know, excitement there that, you know, people have then set up their own little open spaces that have sort of gone for a little time. And I just like to sort of harness that energy and offer something that's kind of predictable in terms of a format, so that we can explore lots of other avenues and niches and, you know, great topics that we can't always discuss in full at you know, like we had to cut this topic short right now. So to that end, you know, if the principles make sense, then there is a way that we could organize this. Okay, if you come to an event like this, you're essentially participating by bringing the questions that you saw. You can add to the agenda. You can participate. Maybe not everybody is very comfortable to do so. Maybe some people like to listen, but you can participate. We want you to participate. And this is like the audience level. If we do breakout rooms, there's maybe a little bit more possibility to network, and we will do those in the future. Okay. If you, however, participate and you see that there's value in this platform, feel free to help organize. There's always a little, you know, fine tuning, something that we've learned, a new technology, a new platform, something else. You get that kind of backstage access. And by working in a small team of people for, you know, a month or two in the run up to an event like this, you really kind of network much more. I haven't met the people that I'm working with live, and yet I really feel I have a good relationship, and I hope that's reciprocated. And it's an opportunity in these sort of difficult times when there's a little bit less, you know, live meetings, to actually make some connections. And what more, of course, want to make it self-organizing. If somebody has helped organize and they know sort of how it works, why not try your hand at facilitating? I really appreciate Magali and Nicolas being here, giving us a hand in showing us how it's done. But we really want to become self-organizing. We want to keep, of course, working with great people, keep reaching out to other communities, other groups, keep working with Agile Suisse. It's great to have this cross-fertilization, but also, you know, also take part in it, you know, come to the front stage, okay, and get the leverage of the extra networking possibility. So I'd like to, you know, finish this slide with a specific appeal. If anybody has just even a tingle of interest, please write to me. Maybe we can make great things happen. Okay. So my email is there on the screen. You've all had 2 emails from me with the correct link. So feel free to use that. patrick.noslik@pmi-switzerland.ch. Okay. And with that, we slowly have to start wrapping up. So I'd just like to warmly, very, very warmly thank the team that's helped make this happen so far. That's Ananya Alexander, who was essentially the project manager for this event, the event lead, you could say. She's from Lucerne, from the Zurich events team. I worked very closely with Lena Harold, who is helping present here, from the Basel events team. I mean, in the pre-COVID days, I'd be just in the Romandy events team. Here I have an opportunity to work across the whole of Switzerland. And because of the times that we're in now, we have the virtual events team, so a lot of help from Misato and Pia. And we're all backed up by people who aren't shown on the screen, who don't maybe participate in an event like this. So that's the PMO Tech Operations team, that let these things happen, the newsletter team that puts the message out there, the social media team, and of course the board of PMI. So a great thanks to all you guys out there for helping, for being part of this. This is the team that sort of helps create the theme of the open space. We really want to have a platform where you, the participants, can really sort of add value to this, take value to this, also showcase yourself. So thank you to all those that participated. Thank you to all those that are brave enough to say something, and do come to the next one to keep developing those skills. Let's do something interactive. So with that, I hand over back to Leon, unless of course Magali or Nicholas want to have one final word.
I wish just a final word. Thanks for everybody for this meeting. As Patrick said, we are part of Agile Swiss. It's an association in Switzerland. Feel free to follow us. We used to share every month activity on Agile, and it's a place where we learn a lot. I subscribe because Agile is something I used to follow, and I learn a lot. Magali is part of this group. Maya also, Cortez, which is coach and Scrum and Product Corner. She used to be part of this Agile Swiss. Then feel free to join us, and you will see it's very interesting.
Are there any, we don't have much time, but are there any questions from participants? Would anybody like to ask anything right now? There are a couple of minutes Q&A.
Good. So next slide, please, Patrick. Thank you, everybody, for joining again. At this time, it's time to close, not without showing you the next events that will happen between now and end of next week. We have this Friday, the Rapid Upskilling. It's again an online event. There's still some open spaces. If you want to join, please do it. Next week, we will have the last event of the year, which is called Learning to Unlearn. You will see me there. And this is a very nice and interesting way to deal now with project management. Finally, we have two more already planned for early next year. One is a traditional Gantt chart or Agile sprints to plan your project. Why not both? This is also an online event. Please feel free to join. And last but not least, remember, as PMI, we're offering some PM masterclasses. There's a very nice and interesting session in April next year, building your personal brand. Don't forget to log in into your PMI events, and there you go. And the last slide, please. Patrick, yeah, there you go. So for attending this course, you get some PDUs. Please use the code on the right side of the screen to claim them. It will be immediately. On the left side, you can scan the QR code or simply click on the link I send you on the messages if you want to provide some feedback. It's very important to us to get your feedback so we can improve and keep a better sessions for next year. Good. That's all from my side. Thank you, everyone. If there's no more questions or comments, we can close the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I need to jump. Patrick, I don't know if we plan something after. I need to jump to another session for Agile Swiss. It's fine.
Yep. Yeah, I think you can close the session now. Thank you.